Imagine a construction project in sunny Florida, a place we associate with beaches and theme parks. It is 1982, and a backhoe operator is clearing land for a new housing development near Titusville. As his machine scoops away the dark, wet earth, something unusual appears. It is a human skull, perfectly preserved and stained dark brown by the peat. This was not just any discovery. This was the beginning of an incredible journey back in time. A journey 8,000 years into the past. The housing development, named Windover Farms, had accidentally uncovered an ancient cemetery, a window into a world we thought was lost forever. This site, now known as the Windover Bog, would soon rewrite our understanding of North America's earliest people. The key to this amazing preservation was the environment itself. The site was a peat bog, a special type of wetland. Over thousands of years, plant material in the pond decayed very slowly, creating a thick layer of acidic, oxygen-poor peat. This unique chemistry acted like a natural preservative, stopping the normal process of decomposition. It pickled everything that fell into it, from human remains to delicate plant fibers. For the archaeologists who arrived at the scene, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They realized that this bog could hold not just bones, but also the fragile, organic materials of daily life from the Stone Age, things that almost never survived the passage of time. To uncover the secrets of the bog, the archaeologists faced a huge challenge. They had to get the water out without disturbing the priceless artifacts buried below. Led by Dr. Glenn Doran, the team set up a complex system of over 150 well points around the pond. For 2 long years, powerful pumps worked day and night, pulling nearly 700 gallons of water per minute from the ground. Slowly, carefully, the water level dropped, revealing the dark floor of the ancient pond. It was there, anchored to the bottom, that they found them, the remains of nearly 160 individuals, each one a silent messenger from a distant past. What they found was astonishing. Carbon dating confirmed that the people buried here lived between 7,000 and 8,000 years ago, during what is known as the Archaic period. This was a time long before the Great Pyramids of Egypt were built, a time when humans were thought to be simple hunter-gatherers. The people of Windover were laid to rest with incredible care. They were wrapped in sophisticated hand-woven textiles, not just simple animal hides. Many were placed in a fetal position as if sleeping and held in place on the pond floor by sharpened wooden stakes driven through their burial shrouds. This was not a simple disposal of the dead, it was a complex and meaningful ritual. As the excavation continued, the team noticed something strange. Many of the skulls they recovered felt unusually heavy, as if they were filled with something. They were hesitant to open them and risk destroying whatever was inside. Instead, they turned to modern medical technology. Using tools like endoscopic cameras and MRI machines, they peered inside the skulls without causing any damage. What they saw was beyond belief. Inside 91 of the skulls, there were preserved human brains. The brains had shrunk to about a quarter of their original size, but they were remarkably intact. The folds of the cerebral cortex were still visible. This discovery was monumental. It was, and still is, the largest and best-preserved collection of prehistoric human brains ever found anywhere in the world. The oxygen-poor, neutral pH of the peat bog had protected the most delicate tissue in the human body for 8 millennia. Under a microscope, scientists could even see the structure of individual brain cells. For the first time, researchers had access to the physical brains of people who lived during the Stone Age. It was a discovery that opened up entirely new possibilities for understanding our ancient ancestors, moving beyond bones and tools to the very organ of thought and consciousness itself. The existence of these brains presented a groundbreaking opportunity for a new field of science, ancient DNA analysis. At the time, it was widely believed that it was impossible to recover DNA from remains this old, especially from a warm, wet environment like Florida. DNA is a fragile molecule that usually breaks down quickly after death, but the unique preservation at Windover gave scientists hope. A geneticist named Dr. Bill Houseworth took on the challenge. He carefully took a small sample of the preserved brain tissue, a substance that looked like dark, greasy tofu, and began the difficult process of trying to extract genetic material. His efforts were a stunning success. Dr. Houseworth was able to extract viable strands of human DNA from the 8,000-year-old brain tissue. This was a massive breakthrough. It was the oldest human genetic material that had ever been recovered from the Western Hemisphere. The fragile molecules that form the blueprint of life had survived for 80 centuries, locked away in the protected environment of the skulls. This DNA held the potential to answer fundamental questions about who these people were, where they came from, and how they were related to the people who live in the Americas today. The secrets of the Windover people were finally ready to be told. The DNA unlocked a story that bones alone could never tell. The first thing it confirmed was the ancestry of the Windover people. The genetic markers proved that they were Native Americans, descendants of the ancient populations who migrated from Asia across the Bering Land Bridge thousands of years earlier. This provided a direct biological link between the continent's first peoples and the individuals buried in this Florida pond. But the DNA revealed something even more intimate and surprising about the community. It told the story of a family, a story that unfolded over more than 1,000 years. As scientists analyzed the mitochondrial DNA from different individuals, a remarkable pattern emerged. Mitochondrial DNA, or mtDNA, is a special type of genetic material that is passed down almost unchanged from a mother to her children. The analysis showed that the mtDNA from many of the individuals buried at Windover was nearly identical. This meant that the people buried over a span of 30 generations were all from the same direct maternal line. The Windover Bog was not just a community cemetery, it was, in essence, a family tomb. Generation after generation, this clan returned to the same sacred spot to bury their loved ones. This finding suggests that the Windover community was a closed genetic group. They likely lived in a relatively small, tight-knit society and did not mix often with outside populations. For over a millennium, this family line persisted, maintaining its traditions and its connection to this specific place. The discovery that a single family used the same burial ground for such an extended period gives us a profound sense of their connection to their heritage and their land. It shows a deep-rooted sense of identity and continuity that is truly extraordinary for such an ancient people. They were not wandering nomads, they were a people with a home. The DNA provides a deeply personal connection to these ancient individuals. We are no longer just looking at specimens from the Archaic period. We are looking at the remains of grandparents, mothers and children from a single continuous lineage. We can imagine a grandmother burying her daughter, knowing she herself would one day be laid to rest in the same sacred water. This genetic story transforms our view of the site. It becomes a testament to the enduring power of family and the human need to honor our ancestors, a tradition that has clearly spanned thousands of years. The remains at Windover also tell stories of hardship and care. Among the buried was a young man only about 15 years old, who had a severe spinal condition known as spina bifida. This condition would have made it very difficult for him to walk or hunt. In a hunter-gatherer society, a person with such a disability would have been extremely vulnerable. Yet, this boy survived into his teenage years. This tells us that he was not abandoned. His family and his community must have cared for him, fed him, and protected him. This is powerful evidence of compassion and social responsibility in a society we once thought of as primitive. However, life was not always peaceful. One skeleton tells a much darker tale. The remains belonged to a man in his early 20s, but his skull was missing. Lodged deep within his pelvic bone was the broken tip of a spear, made from an antler. Forensic analysis of the wound revealed a chilling story. The angle of the injury suggests he was stabbed from below and behind, perhaps while he was already lying on the ground. This was no hunting accident. This was a violent death, a murder that took place 8,000 years ago. This single skeleton is a stark reminder that conflict and violence are also part of the human story. Despite the evidence of violence, the overwhelming story of Windover is one of a sophisticated and caring culture. The elders of the community were found with the remains of medicinal plants in their stomachs, suggesting they had knowledge of herbal remedies. Children were buried with the same reverence as adults, sometimes with delicate, treasured items like shell beads. The intricate textiles wrapped around the bodies show a level of artistry and skill that challenges old ideas about the Stone Age. These people were not just surviving, they were creating a rich cultural world filled with ritual, art, and belief. Ultimately, the Windover Bog teaches us about our shared humanity. It reveals a community that 8,000 years ago valued family, cared for its sick and vulnerable, and honored its dead with complex rituals. They experienced love, loss, and violence just as we do today. They possessed a deep knowledge of their environment and a cultural richness we are only just beginning to understand. The accidental discovery made by a backhoe operator opened a window not just to a lost world, but to a deeper understanding of ourselves. It shows us that the threads of community, compassion, and culture have connected us for a very, very long time.